Greetings and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and today we are playing Bad Streets, where we're all police detectives in a 1970s cop show that's powered by the apocalypse. I have been waiting to play this game for a crazy long time, and I am very pleased that it is finally happening. I'm going to introduce everybody, and before I turn things over to our commissioner. First off, I'm going to go left to right. Let us start with Levi. Hello.
Hello, I am Levi Phipps, at Levi Phipps 97 on Twitter, and I will be playing Philip Kaminsky, the Straight Arrow.
Awesome. And let's move on to Natalie.
Hello, I am Natalie, also known as Dark Aardvark on Twitter, and a couple other places. I am playing Veronica Blackstone today.
Awesome. And the playbook is?
Oh, sorry, the playbook is The Outsider.
Awesome. And let us move on to Finn.
Hello, I am Fettuccini, on all the things. Today I'm playing, I can't think, Elar MacFoam, the veteran.
Excellent. I will be playing Detective Paul Valentino, the Crusader. And now I shall turn the stream over to our wondrous commissioner, Jib. Hello.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me to come run this game for you. I am so excited about this. I am Jason Tryon, Jazz is Blues on all social media. I am he, him. And for better or worse, I'm the author of this craziness that we're about to do. So Bad Streets is a game of gritty street-level crime drama where the characters are the main characters in the hot new 70s crime show Bad Streets. It is sexy, it is edgy, it is all the things that the censors hate and all the fans love. So without further ado, let's just jump right off, and then we're going to introduce everybody, and we're going to do one administrative thing, and we're going to get right to it. The commercial goes off, and the theme song starts. It is hot. It is edgy. It is rock and roll. It is everything your parents hate, and the title screen pops up. It says Bad Streets in blazing 1970s color, and we get some quick flashes of the city. It's a industrial riverside city with a river port where there are barges coming and going out. There's all kinds of river traffic going on. It's very bustling, very busy city with lots of traffic, and then it pans out and it flips over, and there's this blazing neon nightlife of clubs and discos and restaurants and high society. There's a lot of flashy cars and pretty women and well-dressed men all going into this nightlife. And then we get another flash, and we cut to one of our characters, and it's Philip Kaminsky, and our straight arrow who pops up on the screen. And what do we see?
We see a very Polish-looking gentleman on the taller side, medium build. He's got that 70s mustache, the one. He's very well dressed, frequently straightening his tie and making sure that everything is just as he wants it.
And what do we see him doing in our clip of him?
He's simply walking down the street, being very assured of himself. Very
cool.
Very as cool as possible.
I dig it. I like it. And then we get a flash over to Elar. What do we see when we see Elar? Because what do we see?
Elar is currently he takes a puff of a very old-timey looking pipe and steps off the streetcar as it ferries away from the station where there's a nice modern front. Another flash to where he's looking through some paperwork, kind of shaking his head, scratching maybe one of his temples, and then a third bit where he is Dukes of Hazzarding his way across the front of a hood of a police car in chase of two burglars, hand cannon in hand, drawn from the holster that resides on his left hip.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. And then we get another, blinks out and it comes back in, and we see Paul Valentino, our Crusader.
So we see an Italian gentleman in his probably his late 20s, early 30s. He's got thick black hair, and he also has the 70s mustache. Just wearing a sort of a ragged suit and tie. You see him. He's in a standoff where someone's pointing a gun in his face, and he's pointing one, and he's starting to lower his gun, and then he knocks the person's gun, the perpetrator's gun, out of his hand and punches him in the face. And that is followed briefly by a montage of him punching several people in the face in rapid sequence.
Sweet. I like it. I love it. And then we get another flash, and we pop back in, and we see Veronica, our outsider. And what do we see?
Yes, it's a rainy night with some neon on the streets, and it's that slow pan that starts off at her feet and goes up the body slowly, because she's the lady in a '70s show. And when we get to the top, it's her staring down the barrel of her gun, and there's some muzzle flashes as she pops off a few shots.
Sweet, I love it. Bam! Pops up to Bad Streets again. The theme song swells up even more, and we get this flashing montage of city scenes on the street. We see people walking. We see more clips of our characters. We get some teasing clips of other characters that we might see that we don't know who they are yet. And then it kind of like does that sweep pan around. And it focuses on the front of a gleaming glass and chrome building that looks all modern and very, very hip, very modern. And it says Central Division, the city police department on it. And then we kind of get a sweep inside, and we get some like panning shots of cops going about their busy days and their business and whatnot. And then it blanks out, and we go to commercial. And we're going to come back from commercial in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to do an administrative thing real quick. Because one of the things that's really critical when we're talking about cops is, who is your partner? So who would like to be partnered with whom?
I think that the pairing most rife for drama, most fertile ground for drama is me with Paul.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. Okay. So we'll do you guys first. On your playbook, right-hand side, there's a section called labeled bonds. We only need to worry about the first one. Your partner bond, there are a couple things you need to know. One, your partner bond has a clock on it, and it is a 6-point clock. We're going to fill in the first two of those already. We are at 6 o'clock right now, which means that there's some stress going on in your bond here.
I can't imagine why.
There's also a 5-point stress track. Things will happen. You'll take stress against your bond, and anytime you fill up the stress track, you immediately erase the stress track and fill in another space on the clock. And that also triggers a move at that point when that happens. So what you need to do to frame the bond, though, is my partner, who are, so for example, for Detective Kaminsky, Paul Valentino is something, and there are options on the playbook. If you don't like those options, feel free to write in your own. But the basic frame of it is my partner is something, and I have to do this about it. And that is what that means is that when things come up and they frame to your bond, there are moves that you use for your bond, and they allow you to do things. And we'll talk about that when they come up. But when these things happen, they can stress your bond. They can actually, there are ways to alleviate stress on your bond as well. But the idea is that the bond continues to be placed under heavier and heavier stress until it reaches a breaking point and has to be resolved somehow. And we're about halfway there right now. Okay? Yep. So since we have Detective Valentino and Detective Kaminsky as partners, that means we also have our visiting Detective Blackstone partnered with our veteran, Detective McThumb. And again, it's the same thing. You guys, your bond is at 6 o'clock, and you want to frame it, my partner so-and-so is something, and this is what I have to do about it. And while you guys are working out that, I'm going to talk about a couple of topics. Our game is completely inclusive, and everybody is welcome, and this is a safe and friendly environment. And as such, we use we have a couple of controls. We have an X card. We don't have a visible X card, but if you are at any point you have a problem, it doesn't have to be something that's traumatic for you. It is, I don't want this thing that you just said in our game. Stop. We'll write it out on the spot. No questions asked. There is no need to discuss it. We can if you like, but it's gone. Simple as that. In addition to that, and like I said, it doesn't have to be something traumatic. It can simply be, I don't want that in our game. That doesn't fit in our game. Okay? Also, lines and veils. A line is, this is something that I do not want to have in our game. There are things that are for me, these are lines. They will not happen in our game. On-screen violence against children will not happen in our game. Just won't happen. That's a line for me. A veil is something, it can exist in our game, but we're not going to see it. We're not going to see it happen. Anything to do with, for example, rape is going to be a veil. We might have the ramifications of that in our game, but we're not going to see it. We're not going to see it happen. Does that make sense? If at any time you have you want to hit the X card, just type an X into the chat and we will stop on the spot. By the same token, if there's anything that is a line or a veil for you, put it in the chat and we will respond. We will fade out on that immediately. And we'll just, and like I said, it doesn't have to be something that's traumatic. It can just be something that does not fit in our game, and we'll get rid of it. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, excellent. Detective Valentino, tell me about how you feel about your partner.
I'm not convinced he knows what he's doing. But because he's got all the rules down, and he's apparently he's really good at what he does according to on paper, but I do not know if he actually knows how to catch criminals. And I would like to help him with that.
Okay.
Because there's a trick to it, catching criminals and still being alive. It's kind of important.
Well, we know the way things are. It's it's a violent world out there.
It is.
Cool. I dig it. So Detective Kaminsky, how do you feel about Detective Valentino?
Detective Valentino is reckless. Like he will let whatever motives, personal or otherwise, blind him to the to what should be done, and he not necessarily kept in line, but there should be at least one eye kept on him, and then probably one of the better eyes to do it.
Okay. Excellent. All righty. Detective Blackstone visiting us from London, England. How do you feel about, Detective McThumb?
Detective McThumb he's quite an experienced officer, and I should do what I can to learn as much as I can from him.
Cool. Excellent. And Detective McThumb, you've been partnered up with this, female detective from England. How does that feel to our veteran?
The veteran, he sees it as Blackstone is a trustworthy individual, because between various conversations, I assume I'm saying that we've had, that has built up McThumb's trust in Blackstone, and as such wants to help impart as much knowledge to her benefit so that she can take that back to Scotland Yard, and keep her alive so she can actually get back, because that probably wouldn't be good if she died while she was over here.
Excellent. I like it. Okay, cool. Excuse me. One other thing, very quick administratively. Do not worry about what you can do. Worry about what you want to do. We will figure out how to make that fit into the rules. Okay? Has everybody picked a... come on, computer. Do your thing. Has everybody picked 2 playbook moves? Good. Excellent. So when we fade back in from commercial, the scene fades in on a dark, rainy, neon lit street, and you can tell that it's dark and rainy and neon because it's wet, and you can see raindrops pattering, and then it kind of does a slow pan, kind of upwards and to the right, and into the frame comes a woman's high-heeled shoe, not like super sexy high heel, but tastefully business, just slightly sexy, high-heeled shoe. And then up a little farther, and we see what is obviously her foot with the shoe, like a foot or so away from it. And then the scene kind of pulls back and pans in and spreads out, and we see this attractive young woman in her mid-20s. She has blonde hair, and she looks artfully dead. She's kind of perfectly arranged to look, with that slightly enticingly teasing look, but she is clearly not living. And the scene pans out a little more, and we start to see the flashes of blue light that indicate there are police cars nearby. And as the scene pans back out, who is the first of our detectives that we see? Excuse me.
I guess I'll be there. She has a For her signature item, I chose a well-organized notebook/day planner. So she's in that kind of taking notes and reviewing notes.
All right. We see Detective Blackstone, and she's taking notes in her book. What is she doing? Trying to, as she's taking these notes, is she looking at something in particular? Is she, is she talking to someone? What's she doing?
She's going back and forth. She wants to make sure before Detective McThumb engages her about what she sees here. She wants to make sure that she knows the proper however she would give a rundown at Scotland Yard. She would interpret that for the American system. So she's trying to get like the top level view of what of the scene. Okay. She's less concerned with what she's seeing and presenting it well too. Okay. Okay. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Who do we see next?
I feel like that might make sense that I'm also there. LR is, because I'd say he's kind of more looking at the body, kind of pinging off of Veronica Blackstone as he's going through down his process, giving her the kind of that how the contrast of views from Scotland Yard to the American side.
Do that role play thing.
Do that role play thing.
What does
the body look like, and what can I see as I dive into it?
It is a vacant lot. There are obviously buildings, probably warehouses around, and there's a street, not too far away, and an alleyway. The figure is lying in kind of a grassy area. It's that ragged, kind of patchy grass of a vacant lot. And like I said, she's a very attractive young woman in her mid-20s, with blonde hair that was probably very well cared for and very well, styled and arranged, in kind of like, a quintessentially business kind of hairdo that a young woman would wear if she worked in an office in the 1970s in the city.
Gotcha. Is there any obvious signs of trauma outside of, or is just what you've already?
All right. Why don't we read a scene? So you're looking for information about the case from a scene, location, or situation. So let's roll plus procedure.
Let's see. So roll plus procedure. That's 2d6, right?
Yeah. Always roll 2 6-sided dice.
Cool. Let me pull out my dice because I'm playing a role-playing game. I don't need dice. What are dice? What do you use dice for?
Wait, you roll dice in this game?
Yeah. That is going to be a 10.
Excellent. So does everybody have the basic move sheet? I should have asked this a long time ago. I know everybody should have gotten it, but do you have it handy? Because you will want it. So ask me 2 questions from the list.
I'm going to get that list handy real quick because I did not leave it up, unfortunately.
Okay. That's fine. We'll circle back to you in just a second.
Sure.
So what about Detectives Kaminsky and Valentino? What are you guys doing?
Detective Kaminsky probably would have been there like only a few minutes later than Detectives Blackstone and McThumb, and basically trying to get as much information that they can from the immediate situation, and waiting for like the coroner and I don't know if maybe like the coroner, but like the people who should deal with the body are there.
Oh, they'll be here in a minute. They'll be here in a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, just like wait for them, trying to ask the other two what they know so far and that kind of stuff.
Okay. There's, like I said, there are blue lights flashing because there are some uniforms on scene. They probably got here before the detectives did, and asking them real quick, they will point you to kind of a middle-aged gentleman, kind of retirement age. But he's kind of a little guy, and he's wearing the uniform of a security guy. So he might be one of the security guys for like one of the nearby buildings or something. But the uniforms indicate that he was the person who reported the body.
All right, I'm probably going to go to him and ask if he saw anything or if he knows who the victim is.
Oh, no, I've never seen her before. Don't know, don't know anything about her. I was doing my rounds. I came around the side of the building, and I saw something over. Didn't look right over here in the lot, and came over, and there she was. Horrifying, terrible, horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yes.
so horrifying.
Does get easy. Yeah. So you just simply saw her.
Who could do something like that to such who could do something like that?
A lot of sick people in the world. So you simply saw her as is.
I mean, I looked to see if she was breathing, but she wasn't, and so I called the police right away.
Good work. Good work. All right. Thank you. Then go back to the scene proper, and then wait for my partner.
Okay. So what's Detective Valentino doing?
So I'm looking around for before this goes on, it was told, has it been communicated to us what if there's any, as we're looking at because for some reason my brain didn't register this immediately. How is this person killed? Did we see that, or?
We don't know yet.
Okay, they're just lying.
That has not been established yet.
That's what I am going to be asking.
Okay,
I do have
they're just figuring it out.
Hold up here
All
in a
right.
second.
In that case, I want to get a little bit closer, sort of not close. McThumb is a sergeant, yes?
Yes, Detective Sergeant.
I'm just going to come up to him. Got a cup of coffee in hand.
Okay.
And say, what are we looking at, Sarge?
Okay. It's a styrofoam cup because it's 1970s styrofoam.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Questions. Can I ask them?
We have a couple of questions.
Two I want to see is what here is most important, and what doesn't fit here.
Okay. The answers to both of those questions are basically her. She does not look like someone who would be working in the industrial part of the city, which is where you guys are now. Her clothes are a bit too nice for that. She's wearing, a skirt and a blouse and probably a jacket that matches the skirt. I'm kind of thinking, plaid, maybe tweed. Like I said, stylish, not really cutting edge. And, she's obviously a very pretty girl. She's the kind of girl that, people would notice as she walked by.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, she doesn't look like she would fit here.
Can I refine?
The other one was, what is the most important?
Yeah, can I refine that a little, actually, if it's possible? What here is most important? What here is most important to why she is dead?
Okay. First off, a couple of things. She was not killed here.
Hmm.
You can see where someone probably dragged her in here. It's probably when her shoe fell off and dumped her here. And you're pretty sure that she was strangled. Like I said, this is not a procedural show. But she has bruising around her neck that indicates that she was strangled. It's a TV show, so despite it being obviously fatal strangulation, she looks very decorous in her
There's no details about it. It's just,
Right.
that's the and
Yeah.
so
but you're very sure she was not killed here.
okay, cool. She wasn't killed here, strangled. Not that it matters.
Right.
And
Her purse
dropped
is her purse is missing as well.
okay,
Hmm.
and a lack of purse.
Uh-huh.
I will as I'm assuming I kind of like lean down, get a little bit of a closer look, and as Valentino kind of steps up and asks what we're looking here, I'm gonna stand up and go. She was dropped here. That much I know. Looking strangled, missing shoe. There's no purse. I'm assuming that probably also got dropped somewhere along the way,
All right.
or whoever did it still has it.
Yeah. They're probably, and I look around. This is a lot. You said that?
Yeah, it's a vacant lot between a couple of buildings.
Okay.
It's the kind of like maybe they started to build something here and then stopped, kind of thing. So like it's got that patchy but high grass that grows up in vacant lots where the grass doesn't really grow all that well. But at the same time, you've got nearby neon from like a club across the street.
I'll check around, see if anybody saw anything.
Okay.
Yeah, probably gonna follow.
Okay. Cool. I'll come back to you guys in just a minute. We'll see who we find. I want to go back to Detective Blackstone, Detective Inspector Blackstone, because from London. So what are you doing? You've been taking notes on the area, on what's going on. What are you trying to get to?
I guess I would like to see if there's any footprints or like drag marks where she might have come from.
Okay. We've already established that there are are in fact drag marks. And yes, you do find footprints of a man's shoe, probably he's probably a big guy, based on the size of the footprint. And it was pretty heavily weighted because it rained. It rained recently, so it's kind of soft, muddy earth. So based on how deeply it's sunk into the ground, he was probably carrying or weighted down with something, like a dead body.
Sure. What is Detective Sergeant McThumb?
Yes.
I do believe this is pretty cut and dry. The uniforms seem to have followed procedure properly and cordoned off the area, which is good to see. As you've mentioned, she wasn't clearly not killed here. This is a businesswoman, not meant for the industrial areas.
There is a disco, kind of like club/disco across the street. That's where the neon lights are coming from. I kind of think they're green personally, but
it's possible she was at the club next door. Doesn't seem to be dressed well for business, not really dressed for the club.
No, which kind of leads me away from that idea that she was out enjoying the nightlife.
Yes, those aren't the heels of a lady out looking to score a husband.
Definitely not. As she says that, is there in fact a ring on her left ring finger?
Yeah, another one of my precepts is if you and I agree about what's happening, there's no reason for us to roll dice.
Okay.
So yes, she does in fact have an engagement ring on her finger,
Okay.
not a wedding ring.
Okay. And I will kind of look down again and go, I don't know that she was trying to score her husband if she was there, but I think she might have already found one.
Well,
Either way, I don't think she was.
I'd say good on her, but it's a moot point at this time.
Yeah.
I guess without a purse, I don't know how we could go about identifying. I suppose if the ring might have some sort of inscription on it or something that we could look into.
The ring might have a spot. I assume she doesn't have any pockets on her.
No.
Okay. The ring might be a good place to look. Also see if we can find anybody matching. See what else. I mean, matching maybe that boot print.
Yes.
That might be something we look into once we find
For sure.
a further mate.
Will there be a cast taken of the footprint or just photographs? How does that operate?
Based upon my knowledge, would it be a cast?
Yeah.
Or okay. Then I'm gonna say
They would take both, but those
Yeah.
you know what, the techie guys. Those are
Yeah.
the tech guys.
Yeah, 10 guys. I'm saying probably do both, but I'll leave that to the
Sure,
tech
they would know best.
techs.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. So we're going to come back to you guys in just a minute. And Detectives Valentino and Kaminsky, we're looking around to see if they can find any witnesses, I believe, right?
Yeah, see if anyone saw a car or any suspicious activity.
I'm also going to be, as part of that, I'm going to be looking around to see if any of the buildings around us, like the nightclub or the others, have cameras.
Okay.
That's good.
This is the 1970s.
Yeah.
Very, very large, clunky cameras.
Yes.
No, they didn't even.
Probably
They didn't.
not.
The security cameras were for government installations.
Yeah.
That's where you had to.
But were there? I mean, I guess the good question is, were there other security guards other than the one that?
Yeah.
There was a bouncer, like a door guy, bouncer
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
guy at the door of the club, and there's actually there's a kind of a rope area where they would have guided people in, and people would have lined up to go in, but there's nobody there now, and it's quite late. It's like 3:00 in the morning, so it's quite late. But the bouncer is still there. He's like looking kind of drowsy
Okay.
at this point.
Oh, please. I think I'm definitely going to walk in that direction.
Yeah.
He
Like the most likely witness.
he sees you guys coming, and he kind of perks up and scopes you guys out, and there is no question that he recognizes you guys as cops right away.
Good evening or morning, Detectives Kaminsky and Valentino. If you don't mind, we would like to ask you a few questions.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. What?
Have you seen any suspicious activities, like a car that stopped here driving off too fast, someone dragging something?
It's a club, man. There's people coming and going. I got, he actually points over to where the line would have been, which is now empty. It's like, but we had people coming in and out all night. Cars going by.
Understood.
Did you hear anything at any point that might give you pause? Just think for a second.
Why don't you roll plus heart for me there and read somewhat?
Oh dear, that's not good. So I got a total of 3.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay, I rolled snake eyes.
He obviously knows something and is withholding. He's obviously up to something and is obviously nervous about something. The audience can see this right away. that he is totally a shifty dude.
So
He's a big burly
Yeah.
overly muscled kind of guy. If this were the 80s, he'd definitely have a goatee.
Yeah. So, we're probably just gonna lean and say, "Listen, sir, a woman died. Any information that you have, we're gonna need it."
I don't know nothing. I don't know anything about anybody dying. I look. I work the door at the club. Okay. I let people in. I mean, when there's trouble inside, I go and I escort people out. I just do my job.
I understand, but we're trying to do ours. So, just so you know, if there is anything that not saying that you are hiding something, but if there is, you could go away. You could go away yourself. So, anything you have.
Man. Okay. All right, man. All right, cool. All right, look. I don't want trouble. All right. About an hour ago, things were quieting down, but I had these girls who were underage and wanted to get in the club, but I could tell they were underage. I'm not going to let an underage, anybody underage into the club. Everybody knows, the audience knows, that he would totally let someone underage in the club. There's no question about that. But there was this car came up and parked across the street for a minute. It was like a green sedan. That's all I know. Okay, that's all I know. He's totally hiding something. By the way, totally hiding something.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, I don't know what I can say.
No, we'll come back to that in a minute. Or we can move on, whatever works for you guys. So going back to Detectives Blackstone and McThumb. What's going on over here? I mean, you've got you've got this dead girl. You found some footprints, some drag marks. Valentino and Kaminsky went off to talk to somebody else. What are you guys up to?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of with Sorry, talking to the bouncer. Piggybacking off of a previous idea of the engagement ring, would the detective Denny McThumb is going to go grab some gloves.
Okay.
Going to see if he can take the ring off of her finger.
Okay.
Is there any inscription on it that matters?
Okay. Two things.
Yes. That's
one,
what I'd like to do. If that's not, it's okay.
No problem. And this is the 70s. You probably wouldn't bother with the gloves, but that's fine. That's totally fine.
Try to set an example here.
Okay. So yeah, you are able to slip the engagement ring off of her finger, and and there is an inscription on the back side of it, and it says simply "always," and it has the initial D.
Gotcha.
On it, but as you do that, the sleeve of her jacket and blouse kind of slipped back a little bit and revealed that she is wearing a very nice, very expensive gold wristwatch.
Interesting. Is that something else we could also remove?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Then I'd like to do that as well. Any inscription on the other side of that?
Yes. It says, Congratulations. With love. And it has the initials MA engraved on it.
With love, M.A.
And would you like to? You know what? Yeah, no. Well, what would you like to do with that? I'll ask you.
M.A. I'm gonna relay the two inscriptions to Detective Inspector Blackstone,
Okay.
and kind of point them out, like so the ring kind of show it in a way that Rich doesn't have to touch it to see it, and then do the same with the wristwatch, and kind of go. I see two different names. Two different initials, and I'm trying to figure out. One is obvious. The other is I'm trying to figure out: is it another potential individual, or
it's the wristwatch is very expensive and very nice, and is only carried by one particular jeweler in the city.
Ah, okay.
It's pretty exclusive kind of thing. I mean,
Gotcha.
you know, in 70s dollars, we're talking a lot. You know, so it's a pretty hefty gift.
This wristwatch is also only carried by one jeweler in town, in the city. So, place to go to, probably look into here.
Absolutely.
Once we're done here, obviously.
Well, it is 3:00 in the morning, but tomorrow morning is
Yes.
yeah, that would be an after commercial break sort of thing.
Yes.
Before then, we could find ourselves a phone book because they're open 24 hours a day and cross-reference last surnames that begin with A with given names that are M, possibly. Might help narrow down gifted the watch.
It's also true. Yeah, then we could use that to cross-reference whoever purchased it, probably. Because I'm guessing that is probably more expensive than I would assume this businesswoman to drop on a watch.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't have that sort of.
She totally has the look of like secretary, personal assistant.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, perfect. So I will. I would say. I mean, I have probably. If I recall, I might know somebody at the jeweler still. On top of that,
excellent.
Yeah, so we could probably find a phone book, grab a list of those names.
Totally there's a phone booth on the corner.
Okay, then I will do so. I will.
Okay.
Unless you'd like to lead the way, Detective Inspector Blackstone.
I certainly will if it'll aid in education.
Okay. There are lots and lots of surnames that start with A and have a first initial of M. Lots and lots of them.
Okay. Is there a way we could get a list that we could then take to the jeweler later?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Then
absolutely.
We will collect that list kind of some fame.
Yeah, they would be complaining from your computer department about how long it would take to do that because computers in the 70s were big.
And slow.
And you had a computer department, where you had little guys who played with computers. And you being an old school veteran, that whole computers thing, you're not real sure about that probably.
No.
But but still. Yes, you can absolutely do that. That is absolutely fine. Perfect. So I'm going to come back to you guys in just a minute. So going back to Detectives Valentino and Kaminsky. So you've been talking to the bouncer outside the club.
So I think at this point, after reaching that roadblock and seeing that there's more to be learned here, I just sort of look up at him smiling, and I'll say, "You have the look of a man who's been on the inside."
Oh, hi. I'm just I work the door, man.
Yeah, of course, and I know that you'd want to be truthful with us because there probably don't know if you'd have any friends back in there, but I know for certain they're probably folks you don't want to see again. So, if we were to come in there like now, we wouldn't find anything bad like underage people or drugs or anything like that in there right now, would we? Because that would be a shame if something like that were to happen.
Sounds to me like you were trying to pressure someone.
It doesn't it?
It does. It sounds kind of to me like you're trying to pressure someone. So let's do that. And roll plus badass for me, please.
All right. Good God.
And,
I need to switch dice. So I got a total of 4. It's getting slightly better.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Is there a way I can help? Say, if we find, basically conveying, if we find out that there's anything that you have done, this will look even worse for you.
Right. You're trying to help someone,
Right.
and that is a cover or block move. When you try to aid or hinder another detective, roll plus cool for me, please.
Okie doke. Cool. I also got a 4. That's great.
You know what? He's like, no, we're closed. You know what? We're closed. We're closed. Everybody's gone. Just clean it up. Everybody's getting ready to leave anyway. There's nothing to see in there.
I don't want Detective Valentino to have to force his way through.
I'm telling you, man, we're closed. Fine.
I understand.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go.
No, they're
Go
closed. Looks like
Are you
everything's
gonna go
shut
inside?
down here.
Are you going to go inside?
If he's letting us, then we will definitely go in.
Sure.
If I see, once he does that move, once he says we're closed, in Valentino's mind, it's like, oh crap, there's not going to be anything in there. We're not going to be able to lean on him. But then, so he sees Kaminsky going in, and I just sort of put a hand on his shoulder. And I'm like, no, we're wasting our time.
All right.
As you do that, young woman, probably like a waitress kind of person, because they probably have like a bar and then like a dance floor kind of thing is the way this place is set up. She comes out and she's carrying a purse, but she's not carrying it like, she's leaving to go home. She's carrying it like a, why do I have this kind of thing? And she says, hey, Bobby. And she's talking to the, to the bouncer. Did you see anybody leave without a purse?
Does the purse happen to match the jacket?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it would be a very good, match.
Yeah.
Matches the shoes very, very well. Yes.
I kind of, excuse me, miss. Did either of you happen to see anyone wearing a plaid jacket, business attire?
Yeah, there's a girl like that. She didn't really fit in. She looked like she was waiting for someone.
We have we have a potential homicide, and that may be hers. That may be the victim's.
She looks panicked about that because, homicide. It's panicking.
Can we see that, please?
Yeah.
Sure. She hands you the purse.
Thank you. Just sort of, that's worth a shot, right? So yeah, no, it's so since she affirmed that it matched that description, I don't think I'm going to ask any more questions. Just basically, I'm going to open it and look in.
It's a young woman's purse. It's got lipstick, wallet.
Okay, open the wallet.
No, it has a ring of keys, but it doesn't look like there's a car key on it. Normal stuff. You'd find.
All right, so I will open the wallet and at least look and see if there's ID, that kind of thing.
There is in fact a driver's license. It's the 1970s. There's a driver's license, a social security card, and the driver's license is one Angela Myers, 113 Apple Street, the city.
Does the picture look like the victim?
This is the 1970s. They don't have pictures.
Oh, driver's license don't have pictures? Oh, they don't.
Nope.
I'm remembering something that is slightly counter to that, but never mind.
No, it's fine. I have actually no problem with it.
However, no, I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yes, it is a match for her.
Yeah.
It is for her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should point out my knowledge comes from New York State, so it might have been different in that state in the 70s where they may have done it first. But
I have absolutely no problem whatsoever with there being a photograph on it.
Okay. So it does match?
I lived in the 1970s. Driver's license didn't have photographs, but that's
okay.
Yeah.
Even I wasn't driving then, but I saw a driver's license.
Right.
But anywho.
Neither was I, but yeah.
But yes, there's a photograph of Angela Myers, 113 Apple Street, the city. There is also an ID for the city municipal office building, which is like City Hall.
Okay. And the photograph does the photograph look like the victim?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely.
So I'm going to put it back in and I'll say, Miss, we're going to need to hold on to this for evidence. Thank you.
I don't need it.
It's good to know that you've at least got some good employees here. And I'm going to turn around and start heading back toward the crime scene.
And as you walk away, the camera, we see Bobby with this lip, artfully, hurt. Okay. And I think that's the moment in the show when we would do a quick commercial break. We won't do a break yet. We'll do a break in about 20 minutes or so. But we would go to commercial and then we would come back in. And I think we would come back in on Detectives Blackstone and McThumb going to the jewelers. Is that where you guys wanted to go next?
I figured it's probably the next. Yeah. The next
can we assume that we linked up with and got information from the other?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Basically, unless somebody tells me otherwise, any information that either pair of partners gets, they share with the other one.
Sure.
Can I real quick get that name again so I can put it down for notes?
Angela Myers?
Yes, perfect. Thank
you. Angela Myers.
Awesome.
Okay, so you are at the jeweler's shop, and it's just the jewelry shop. It is a very high-end, upscale, place with lots of gleaming glass and all kinds of very expensive jewelry around and whatnot. And there's older gentleman who is probably the owner or the manager, hard to say. And there are probably half a dozen or so young women who are very immaculately dressed, and definitely staged to be pretty and appealing because they're trying to sell jewelry. So that's kind of what we see there as we walk into the jewelry shop. So what are you gonna do?
I presume we both kind of look over the place real quick. Just kind of case it in a quick sense, and then I would say walk up to the owner and flash. I'll at least flash a detective badge.
Okay.
And say, howdy. Here.
Detective? How can I help you?
No worries. I'm just here for some information. I assume I can pull out the gold watch.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pull it out. I'm like, does this look familiar to you?
Oh yes. He looks at it. He holds it very lovingly. Oh yes. These are a very special item. These are custom made, and we are the only people we are the only shop that sell these. These are custom made for us, and there's only one buyer for them.
There's only one buyer for them? Would it be possible?
He turns it over and he shows you the back, and in very, very small print underneath the inscription is the number 004.
This is the fourth one. Okay. So this where you are the only seller. You only have one buyer.
We've made 4 of these now.
Do you know who that
They're
buyer
very specialized. Diamond jewel works inside, very precise. 20 karat gold. Diamond inlaid face.
Yes.
Very specialized. Only get them here.
Mm-hmm. Who is your buyer?
Oh, I couldn't share that. Sir, our clientele is most exclusive, and
it's in connection with a murder.
I'm very sorry, sir, but we couldn't possibly share that information.
A young lady is dead, not much older, in fact, probably the same age as any one of your employees here. I would think you would have a special vested interest in discovering whom might be responsible.
He looks pretty panicked about that. I'm sorry, I really could not possibly say.
Can I pressure him?
Oh, totally.
Into speaking, I would like.
Yeah. The move says when you use violence to intimidate someone or get information.
Sorry,
it doesn't necessarily mean physical violence. The threat of violence or this threat of power is totally sufficient. You're absolutely pressuring someone.
Okay.
Yep.
And badass 2d6 plus badass. Ooh, that's good. 10 again.
Sweet. Ask me 2 questions.
How could I get them to give me that information?
You could threaten with taking them to jail.
Okay.
It is very likely that they have something illegal going on here because,
Would I maybe know that as the veteran?
Sure.
And maybe through my contact?
What is the thing that they do that he does in this shop that for a fact is illegal?
Okay. I'm gonna say that I know that they partake in some launder moneying.
They launder money? Yeah, no, that's a perfectly valid thing.
I said it backwards though, but money laundering for a local gang. like some people that do some illicit business, and it's they use some of the jewelry and stuff like that as a way to launder that money back into.
Cool.
Um,
Dig it. And you know that. You know
yes,
that to be
because
fact. You may or may not have proof of it, but you know it to be fact.
Yes. Okay.
And for you, possibly proof, maybe secondary concern.
Yeah, I feel like as somebody like myself, I'm not quite concerned. I don't know how to use the second question on because I don't think I really need it. Because I think I already.
If you don't want to take a second question, I can give you a +1 forward on your next roll.
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay.
I will instead go kind of just lean in a little bit and go, is it me or am I recalling a certain group of individuals that stops by every Thursday? Is it Thursday still? I don't remember. It's been a while.
His eyes go very, very wide, and he looks panicked. And all of the girls around the shop stop what they're doing immediately, and they're just like, there's this air of panic.
Now, I could, go find the warrants I need to pull you in.
We don't need to do that, do we, Detective?
We
don't need to do that.
No, we don't need to do that. Just if you have the name, that would make life so much easier, and I won't have to go get those warrants or anything like that.
Michael Andretti.
Michael Andretti. Interesting. See? That wasn't that hard.
He's never going to do business with me again.
You might not be the only one that he's not doing business with.
Michael Andretti, by the way, is the mayor.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I thank you for that.
He just looks crushed and crestfallen, just like.
Okay. Do you think we need anything else, Inspector Blackstone?
I think that covers what we needed fairly well. We got confirmation of some things.
I guess we need to have a talk with the mayor.
I guess so.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so when we flip over and flip scenes to what are Detectives Valentino and Kaminsky doing now?
If we linked the victim to the municipal offices, we're probably going to ask around there.
Okay. So you can totally go to the city hall. And there's this big rotunda. And there's a security desk there. They do not have metal detectors. This is the 1970s. They just have security guards sitting there because that keeps the place perfectly safe. There's no possible way of a problem with the security guards there because security guards.
Right. Of course.
And it's City Hall. Who would mess with City Hall, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
We were such sweet summer children in the 70s. Anyway, there are people moving about to and fro. It's a very busy, bustling, kind of place. It's also where the city courts are, so there's a lot of that activity going on as well. But that's kind of the scene as you guys walk in through it's got one of those revolving doors that you guys walk through to go into the city hall. A place that you guys would be very familiar with, but for our viewers, this is the first time we've seen it. So we have that establishing shot. What are you gonna do?
Basically, find someone who is worth interrupting and asking where we can find whoever Angela was the secretary for.
Well, there's the security guards.
Right. talk to the security guards. Like,
Okay.
um,
Security guard, he's kind of a little bit overweight, balding. Sorry for the stereotype. But
yeah.
kind of a fatherly looking sort of guy.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice guy,
Yeah.
nice enough guy, I guess.
Excuse me, sir. Do you happen to know a Miss Angela Myers?
Oh, Angela, yes, of course, yes, she's a lovely girl.
Yes. Do you happen to know who she worked with the most? Who she worked directly under, or people that she talked to with a lot?
She worked in the mayor's office.
I see. Thank
Is
you.
there a problem, officer?
She's been found dead. She's a victim of
Some kind of
a
accident?
We are unsure of any cause or motive, but it doesn't seem to be that way.
We're gonna need to talk to someone else in the mayor's office.
Yeah, whoever's in currently.
There's nothing to stop you guys from going up to the mayor's
Absolutely
office.
right. We're cops.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is where
Yeah.
And this is the 70s. There's nothing to stop you from going up to the mayor's office. And it's a cop show. It's a crime show. There's nothing to stop you from going up to the mayor's office.
There's nothing. Yeah. So it probably cuts to us at the secretary's desk and asking whoever's right there.
Yeah. When you go into the mayor's office, it's the big sumptuous office with the waiting area, and it's beautifully appointed dark wood kind of thing, red carpeting, and there's the assistant, there's the deputy mayor's office off to one side. It's clearly smaller and less nice, but at the desk in the middle, there's kind of like a double desk there, and there's these. There are two women sitting there. One is the kind of stereotypical, battle axe, woman who's got the kind of severe face. But this is a TV show, so even with that, she's still got that attractiveness to her. But she looks like a formidable woman, not the kind of person to be trifled with, and certainly someone more than adept at defending her boss, the mayor, from intrusive police officers.
Excellent. So I'm going to go immediately up to the battle axe, smiling, and well, actually not smiling because of what I got to tell her.
Yes, detective.
Good evening. What? No, morning. What time of day is it? Is it morning?
Morning.
So hard to tell anymore.
Well, perhaps if one didn't keep such late hours, drinking and carousing.
Boy, I wish that was what it was. No, Miss, something's happened to Miss Myers.
Angela?
Yeah, and we just wanted to ask a few questions.
What has she gotten into now?
Well, we're not completely sure. We're trying to figure that out now because it's not whatever it is. It resulted in it. Well, yeah, I'm kind of cagey about wanting to tell people immediately about because I want to see their reaction. But actually, we've seen her reaction. Because we're not sure, but whatever it was, it must have been serious because it got her killed.
Oh, horrifying.
It happened, as far as we can tell, it happened sometime last night.
Well, then, obviously had nothing to do with here. Probably had something to do with her sordid private life.
Well, do you know something about that?
No. I would not know about such things, but one can tell about, the type of people.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you didn't actually. Well, yeah, I get that, and it's it's important to make sure that things, you uphold decency and all that. Just the problem is, stuff like this, as I'm sure you know, can spread. I don't suppose there was anything you might have overheard or anything that might give us a clue as to what might have happened to her.
Let's read someone.
I am probably terrible at this, but I would
Heart.
like to.
Roll plus heart,
Oh, heart.
please.
Okay, I can do that. I'm slightly less terrible at heart. Read someone. I'm moving over to wherever I go. That's better. I switched dice. So that's 9.
Okay. So ask me one question from below.
How are they connected to this?
She obviously knows more than she's telling you, and she knows something about Angela Myers that she is not sharing with you.
All right. So, I know I've already attempted to convince her, so I'm gonna just I'm gonna kind of look significantly over at Kaminsky and see if he's picking that up as well or not.
He just
Okay.
Detective Kaminsky just leans in. Madam, if there is anything you know, you're going to have to you will have to enlighten us, as if there is something that you didn't know, there are possible charges. And I would like to use my move, Legal Pressure.
Sweet. Do that thing.
Yeah, all right, and that is with procedure.
Uh-huh.
So that is a 7. So either they want to make a deal and have something to offer,
Uh-huh.
or have well-placed friends. So
Which one do you want?
I
You get
think
to pick one.
you're right. I think well-placed friends is like the most important, because like if we make her mad, it would very easily get to the mayor.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So this is the not as careful as we probably should be, but
she worked directly with the mayor. She was his direct personal assistant. She managed his calendar. She saw to his appointments. What they did in the office in the evenings after I left is none of my business.
I understand. Thank you, madam. And yeah.
Zian?
Yeah.
I asked her. So I'm sort of looking at it. So is that so? If there can we see over into his office, or is it?
Oh yeah, you can see into his office.
Okay. We're gonna need to.
Mayor Andretti is the quintessential image of the young rising politician. He's probably in his late 30s. Perfectly manicured. Very stylish looking. The crisp white shirt, the tie. Probably has his jacket off because he's in the office. That sort of thing.
We go over and we're gonna go and knock on his office door. If it's open, I'm gonna knock on it anyway.
As you go that direction, she jumps up to try to intercede, but you're going to get there before she does. And he's going to look up as you arrive and knock at the door. Yes, Blanche, what is this? It's, Mayor, a couple of detectives. Some detectives need to speak with you. Like, of course, detectives, please come right in. I'm always happy to help the police department.
Thank you. Is it Your Honor? I forget.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sir, don't want to take up too much of your time, Mr. Mayor. So we'll get right to the point. Wait, when did you last see Angela Myers?
Well, that would have been yesterday at, I believe she left the office about 6 o'clock. I was still working, busy things to do, government to do.
Right. And, so Miss Myers unfortunately was found last night at 3 in the morning in a lot. She had been strangled to death, I say, watching him carefully.
How horrible. He looks horrified and panic-stricken. Yes. Horrified and panic-stricken. How horrible. Do you have any idea who could have done such a thing?
Well, we have some leads we're looking into, but...
Well, of course. All the resources in my office will of course be, behind you, Detective.
I just wanted to know if you, since we understand that you worked with her.
Well, yes, of course.
Very closely. That you might have some insight as to if anyone would want to do harm to her, or if there's anything that you might have noticed that might have been unusual or difficult within her behavior within the last few days.
Oh, well, no, I hadn't noticed anything unusual in her behavior. She was, of course, very excited and very, she was under a fair bit of stress because her wedding is coming up, you see. But no, she, there were no, beyond the normal, difficulties of political office and things like that. Have you spoken with her fiance Daniel?
Not yet. We wanted to, before we break this to him, we wanted to gather what facts we have available. Sir, this is of course very serious. It seems as though someone just dumped her there. If anyone has,
she's a lovely girl.
Well, let me also ask you this, sir. You don't suppose that this might have also been targeted at you?
Targeted at me? Me? Oh, who would do such a thing?
Well, you are the mayor.
Well, of course, there are always, conflicts and it's the intricacies of running a major city such as the city, but such yes, part of doing business.
And how has business been?
Oh well, it's always a bit of give and take, a bit of tug and pull, and bringing differing opinions together into one consolidated view of the direction for this, and he immediately launches into, political speak of, the vision for the city and, bringing minds together to, the betterment of all of the people. Because, being a politician, he immediately launches into a political, speech.
Seems like it's entirely possible there's been someone trying to do a bit more taking than giving recently, given what happened. You don't think that there's anything that's been going on with your business recently that might have caused such a result?
Well, I wouldn't. I would have no idea what that would be. Certainly, we always have, as I said, discourse, and sometimes things get spirited, but it's always in the interest of progressing the city forward and making it a better city for everyone.
Was there at any point within the last few days that it got especially spirited? And maybe it might not have looked that significant to you at the time, but if it happened, and they also, maybe at a time when Miss Myers was present, was something along those lines?
Oh, no, nothing so dire as that. But business feelings, taxes for, and tax breaks and, zoning laws and things like that.
All right, well.
Would you like to read someone?
I just sort of look over at Kaminsky.
Yeah. Like, would I be able to like watch and?
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hearts. So 8. So what I can do is ask one. Are they telling the truth?
Are you kidding me?
You wasted it on that.
He's a politician. Of course he's lying. Is his mouth moving? Of course he's lying. There is obviously more to that than, first off, there is obviously more to his relationship with Angela than he wants you to know about.
Yeah.
Right. We expected that already.
And there is obviously more going on than what he's telling you. No, it wasn't a wasted question.
Right.
It's just very, very obvious that he is being a politician and he does not want to tell you what's really going on.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I understand that you want to keep a decent image to the people of our fine city, but if there is any way that any information that is available to you, we would also like available to us.
Well, of course. Of course, the full power of my office is behind you, Detective. But we certainly want a speedy resolution to this matter.
Yes. Well,
the subtext of that being without involving my office.
Yes, it's like we are of course grateful to have your office on our side, but perhaps Mr. Andretti knows something that the office might not be that's not as on the books.
Okay. Are you trying to manipulate him into doing something?
Yes, I'm trying to manipulate him into basically divulging information that he wouldn't.
Roll plus heart, please.
Okey-doke.
Paul is looking kind of shocked at you when you drop that name, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
really? You're doing this? Okay.
Yeah. Like, so the thing is, it's manipulate someone, or
Yeah.
right? So I got
he's going to do it.
Yeah,
You got
11. So yeah, I just didn't know if there was anything that I had to pick. So
Nope. If you had a 7 and 9, then you have to pick.
yeah, there will be a complication, but yeah.
I assume, of course, that you will keep this matter discreet.
As long as we catch
Of
you
course.
did it.
I assure you, I had nothing to do with poor Angela's death. There are matters coming to a head with the business community wanting concessions and tax breaks and zoning changes that benefit them. And given the amounts of money involved, would certainly explain why someone might take extreme action.
Is there a particular business or business owner in particular that seems to want more than they should ask for?
You understand, of course, that this can't come back to my office.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course not. And I mean, even if, say, your appointment book happened to be lying open on your desk here, and you were to just casually have your hand over a page that we might see, then that might not be.
Well, I have been having to tend to my own accounts, and he flips open a notebook on his desk, because Angela wasn't here today, because she would normally be doing this, and he kind of traces his. It's not on today, by the way.
Right.
It's on a couple of days ago. And it traces down to, and he stops his finger over an entry for like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where he had a meeting with, where did I write it down? Jonathan Smithson of Smithson Industries.
Just sort of note it.
Yeah.
Mikey Kaminsky. Just sort of nod.
Yes. I'm sorry that you weren't able to tell us what we needed.
Well, we have to maintain the security and secrecy of the mayor's office. And,
of course.
The integrity of the leadership of our fair city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Anytime, of course. And of course, as I said, the full weight of my office is behind you, detectives.
And in the meantime, and actually, I do give him a card to say, if any further difficulties develop, give us a call, please, sir.
Oh, it's good to have such stalwart and dedicated detectives as yourselves.
Of course.
For me. We appreciate it.
Okay. And I think we're going to cut to commercial right there. And that would be our mid-show commercial break. So we're going to take a break right here.
Awesome. All right. So we are going to break for about 5-10 minutes, and then we will return. I do just want to say before we go to break, as it turned, I was doing a tad bit of Googling a little bit ago, and it turns out, Jib, you were right. They didn't actually introduce required color photos, at least in New York State, until 1984. So I have no idea where that memory came from.
No.
Yeah, and eye and hair color would have probably brought us to her anyway. So
yeah, they had photos, black and white photos for chauffeurs.
It is ridiculous the things that I know sometimes.
It's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Well, folks, we will see you shortly.
Cool.
We have returned. We returned from
All right.
commercial break. We're ready to resume the show.
As we fade back in from commercial break, we see detectives Blackstone and McThom walking up a narrow little walkway to a tidy little house in the city, and it has a number plate beside the door that says 113 on it, and pretty little door framed by a couple of very nice little concrete pots with plants growing in them. It all looks very suburban and very tidy. And there you are.
All right.
Is there any?
As you go ahead.
I was just going to ask: is there anything as we're kind of approaching any immediate, like noticing things that say there's something going on here, like any obvious signs of distress? I guess is the.
No.
Okay.
Nothing. There is nothing that says there is anything amiss or out of place about what you see right away. I mean, from the outside, certainly. What you may see when on the inside, that's a different story. That could be different. We'll see. As you reach for the doorbell, to ring the doorbell, the door flies open, and a young man in his late 20s probably, is like very harried, has kind of a rumpled, hasn't slept kind of look to him. Snatches the door and says, "Angela, who are you?"
Good afternoon. We're with the with police.
He looks panicked, looks horrified right away, looks terrified, looks panicked. What's happened? What's happened to Angela?
You are. Forgive me. The name is blanking on me so hard right now. Did we?
Daniel.
Daniel. Okay. I say you are Daniel, correct?
Yes, I'm Daniel Thomas.
Yes, fiance to Angela. Okay. She was.
What's happened to Angela?
She was unfortunately murdered last night.
No, and he just shatters. Yeah.
I would like to read him to see if he's.
Sure.
I guess that'll be determined by how well I roll. 6. So never mind.
Okay. He just shatters and collapses completely. I mean, like literally falls down on the floor.
Is there a way to help him not lose it entirely?
Yeah.
I can kind of think of a way, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Mr. Thomas, what Angela needs from you most currently is to be here and talk to us so that we can find out what happened to her and get justice. At this point, that's all that can be offered from anyone. If you would please take a moment to collect yourself and
he gets up and he kind of like staggers into the other room, leaving the door open behind him. As he goes in and when the camera follows him, he goes through the living room into the kitchen. Gets a Kleenex or something like that. And he's wiping his eyes and blowing his nose and whatnot. And he gets and he kind of like sags against the counter and is like a somewhat fresh storm of emotion, but a bit more controlled. And then he visibly steadies himself. I'm sorry. Detectives?
Perfectly understandable to be.
Who could do such a thing to Angela? Everyone loves Angela.
Do you know who she might have been waiting for at the club last night around, well, sometime after 6 p.m.?
I told her to have nothing to do with that woman. Da-da.
That
And who
woman
is-
being
That city council woman.
city councilwoman who?
She's the one with on the signs. Basin? I told her to have nothing to do with her. Woman is evil.
What was Angela doing with Miss Basin?
She said that I shouldn't concern myself with it. That it was just city business.
Oh,
But I know that there's more going on there.
You're a good, caring husband and or fiance. I'm sure you looked into it more than just that.
This Basson woman wanted information about the mayor. Angela worked for the mayor. It's all their fault.
Well,
Yes,
could be. It could also entirely be somebody unrelated to it. We're just trying to follow up on the leads. She wanted information on the mayor. Do you know why?
Angela wouldn't tell me. Wouldn't tell me what she wanted to know. But Angela worked directly for the mayor. She knew.
Yes.
She knew things. She wouldn't tell me, but she knew things.
Did she ever take her work home with her, by any chance? Any documents or anything that we could look at to give us a clue as to who might have ended her life?
She kept a desk in the.
Would you mind terribly if I poked around?
It's a 2-bedroom house, and where normally the 2-bedroom house would be, master bedroom and then a nursery or child's bedroom, especially for a couple getting married. This one is more set up like an office.
Sure.
There's a typewriter, there's a filing cabinet, that sort of thing. And the filing cabinet is locked. I will also remind you that you found a ring of keys in her purse.
Gotcha. I'm gonna turn to Inspector Blackstone. Excuse me. Do you want to keep looking around, and I'll see what I can find from this filing cabinet?
Sure.
All right. I guess I have to work on that. I would say, is there anything else of interest?
In the filing cabinet, there are very ordered files about they seem to focus on people and on business entities. There are and they're very detailed files. And I would like for you to read a scene for me, please.
Sure. I can do that. With procedure?
Yeah.
That'll be another 10.
Another 10. Ask me 2 questions.
What doesn't fit here? This is gonna be my first one.
That would be the gap where it looks like files have been removed.
What letters are those from?
S.
From S. Okay. Just all of the S files?
No, not all of them, but there's a gap about, call it midway through the S section.
Gotcha. Based upon the names that are there and the names that aren't there, would it make sense that the missing one might be linked to somebody that we have as potential?
Very likely. Yeah, could have definite possibilities.
Okay. And what here is not what it seems.
The nature of the files and the information in them is the sort of thing that a journalist would look for. When they were trying to find information for a story or something like that, like an investigative journalist.
It's not information to say on who they are and what they do. It's more what could be used against them.
There's an element of that to it. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
It's a conclusion I could maybe draw from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Awesome. Or we'll convey all of this to Inspector Blackstone. Point out the obvious section missing in the S's.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's Detective Blackstone doing during this time?
Doing some combination of looking around the office space and continuing a conversation with Daniel.
Okay. He seems very concerned about you guys going through her things, because she apparently did not like it when anybody went through her things.
I'm sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Thomas, how long did you and Angela know each other then?
A year. Well, we were supposed to get married next month.
No, it is heartbreaking, and
we wanted a family.
And do you have the bones for that going rather well here? How did you meet her? What in a professional capacity, or friends, or?
Through friends at the university. I'm in graduate school at the university, and Angela was close with people there. I'm going to take a step back for a second and go back to something we talked about earlier and fill in a blank or I'm going to add something that I didn't say at that point because it didn't. Also in her purse is a container of birth control pills.
Did it look like that they had all been being like taken on time? Like,
oh yeah. It looks like it's been properly used.
Okay.
And that's the kind of thing that we would do a flashback in the TV show where in this moment, because in the moment where he said, they were wanting to start a family right away. We would do a quick flashback, and you would be like going through her purse, and there would be that flash moment of, you holding her case of birth control pills, like half of which have been taken, and it's like the middle of the month kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. wanted to have children right away. Do you know when was she planning on going off the pill after the wedding then?
What? What are you talking about?
Well, she was taking birth control. At least she had some in her purse.
That's ridiculous. Angela wouldn't do such a thing. We wanted to have children right away.
Well, you stopped taking it, and it wouldn't do to become pregnant before the nuptials. I mean, we are in the 70s, but some old modes do hold on.
I'm sure you're mistaken, Detective. Angela would never do such a thing.
It's quite possible. I'm just hypothesizing.
Am I able to overhear this?
Oh, yeah.
Can I read him?
Yeah.
Awesome. That is with what?
Reading someone is with heart.
With heart? Oh, cool. Perfect. 7. Oof.
Ask me one.
Ask you one. Where did their loyalties lie?
Ooh, tricky question. I'm going to give you a 2-part answer. He at least was fiercely loyal to Angela, but something has shaken that foundation.
Am I able to determine what that is? Or
it is possible that the revelation that she was on birth control is more impactful to him than it might seem.
Gotcha. And outside of Angela, do his loyalties lie? Are there any other that really matter? I guess is the other question.
Outside of Angela, his loyalties matter. Probably nothing that pertains to what's going on.
Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for. Is there anything?
No, that's a good question. It's a very good question.
Cool. Shaken. All right.
Yeah. And there is a kind of upswelling of anger in him. And this information has made him has shaken him and made him angry.
Would you mind terribly, Mr. Thomas, if I had a little poke more around the house, get a better sense of who Angela was?
You might as well. There's nothing left for me here now.
Sure. Look around. She's going to try to play it off as like she's looking over the entire house, but really what she wants to do is get to the bedroom and see if there's any like condoms or if they were using some other means of
Sure.
birth control.
Since he's not going to stop you, I think that yes, you would find in the bathroom that there was in fact a box of condoms.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll keep up it's mostly just banal conversation just to like
Sure.
keep him talking and focused on
Other
Yeah,
things.
not breaking down.
As you step away, I will kind of close the filing cabinet and kind of walk over and be like,
There is a date planner on her desk.
okay,
It is open to yesterday.
gotcha.
And it says the club EB 630. And that's it.
Can I find Miss Bacon's file or Basin's file
Um,
in the cabinet?
no, there is not a file. Interestingly, and that's probably relevant is that there are files for all of the other city council members, not one for Elaine Basin.
Gotcha.
Again, there's a gap. There's a gap in the files in the drawer.
Yes. Cool. I'll take note of that.
Mr. Thomas, were you home all last evening?
Well, I came home from the university about 7, and Angela wasn't home yet. She often gets in late. That seems to rouse his anger a bit more at that, and I waited for her. I fell asleep on the couch about 12.
And do you have, I know it's a horrid question to have to ask, but it is procedure. Do you have any sort of witnesses or references for where you were last evening from after leaving the university to?
No, I was here alone.
Sure, makes sense. Again, apologies, just something that have to ask.
You didn't happen to see a neighbor on the way in or anything like that, huh?
He says, not that I noticed, no.
When I was looking around, could I have also, I'm assuming that he has like pairs of shoes somewhere?
Yeah.
And looked and seen if they were the same or similar size? To the footprints in the vacant lot?
Well, yes, they are.
Does he have any like boots or anything that have mud on them, like from a vacant lot?
No, not that you see. Not
Sure.
like in the bedroom or in the closet or anything.
Sure.
Is there anything else attached to this house, or
There's a garage,
a garage? All right.
little one-car garage.
Okay.
The 70s.
Yeah. I'm gonna look outside of the. Is the garage attached to the house?
Actually, no, it's separate.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna look out one of the windows, see the garage, and go. Do you mind if I look through the garage as well?
I suppose that would be fine.
Very well. Gonna walk over. Is it unlocked? Do I need to grab him to unlock it for me?
It is locked, but he would unlock it.
Okay, cool. I will walk inside. What do I see?
Kind of a typical garage. There's place for a car to be parked. There's a workbench with tools and things like that. It's got a shelf with the little with the lids for the mason jars screwed to the underside of it, where you put the screws in the jar and screw it up to the jar and that kind of thing. The washer and dryer are in the garage, where one would do laundry, and there is laundry running at the moment. Dryer. And would you like to read a scene?
I will read a scene. That's the procedure, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a 9.
A 9. You are Mr. Procedure. Ask me one.
Ask you one. Okay. What here is the most important?
Oh, that's easy. That'd be the muddy hiking boots.
I presume so. I just wanted to make sure that.
That's easy.
I wanted to find those. That's what I was looking.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Do they match the kind of boot print that would be left in the second lot?
Yes, they do.
Gotcha. I assume the mud also matches the rough color of.
Yeah, but like I said, not a procedural show, but yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll look at them and kind of look over. Do I see? Did you come outside as well?
Yeah, if all that happened after what I was doing, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Then I will obviously point those out to you.
I think we need to engage one of my favorite parts of this game.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a squeal of tires outside as Daniel Thomas jumps into his car, starts it, and peels out, headed down the street.
Well, seems our man is guilty.
Now we have a man on the run.
Because how could we have a 70s crime show without having a car chase, right?
Obviously.
True.
Guess we hop on.
So what are you gonna like jump in your car and take off after him?
Yes.
I feel like that's about the most appropriate thing to do at the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think so. So you're gonna face the danger.
Cool.
When you act in the face of some danger or overcome an obstacle, roll plus cool.
Do you have a bonus to your cool?
I do.
Then I'll let you do it because I do not. I don't have a minus, but I don't have a bonus, so I will.
I love the fact that our British outsider is driving the car in the police chase. I want to know if she's driving on the wrong side of the road.
I want to say like she like deviates to it from time to time, and I have to be like start I'm like no.
Yeah, it's mostly after making like turns. She tries to like
Yeah.
go into the incorrect
Wrong
lane.
lane? Cool.
But doing so with a plum this time because I had a 13.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
So what does it look like what does our car chase look like? So, describe our car chase for me.
All she knows from most of what she knows from driving is 70s cinema, so like Bullet and stuff like that. So she's heck of aggressive, like this. She doesn't really have an air of badass around her so much, but she knows how to drive.
Cool.
Yeah. Real aggressive and a lot of smoking tires and stuff like that.
I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say that.
Eating through traffic.
I want to say like while you're doing all this cool driving stuff, I'm like on the radio, like letting uniforms know where this car chase is headed.
I think the car chase ends when he slides onto a street, and he goes barreling down the street, and two uniformed squad cars come out and go nose to nose to block his path, and he swerves and hits something along the side of the road, trash cans or dumpster, and the car totally does the whole flip and to a halt up against artfully up against the side of a building or something. But because you rolled a 13, nobody is injured or hurt in this spectacular TV car chase. And you were able to get there and just as he's like crawling out of the wreckage of the car that's on its top. He is battered and has blood running down the side of his face and whatnot, but he is otherwise unhurt as you drag him out of the car. And what are you gonna do?
He's not armed, I assume.
Oh no.
Okay, cool. Obviously, put him in handcuffs. First things first.
Okay, sure.
And I'm just gonna read him his rights real quick.
Okay.
And kind of go, you understand why you're being detained, right?
I think he's going to go with, I didn't do anything, which obviously he did because he ran from the police. But you know.
There's multiple things that are wrong about that. You fled your own home from a couple of officers after
I'm not the one who killed her. It was that woman.
So you weren't the one. So instead of giving us the information, just very simply, you decided to run from us.
She will kill me. Just like she killed Angela, she will kill anyone to get what she wants.
And we're talking about Miss Basin, I presume.
Yes. That woman is evil.
I'll look over to the uniforms that are probably approaching at this point.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, we got it under control. I think he's been apprehended. So.
Okay.
Take him back to the station.
Okay. We'll come back to that in just a minute because we're going to jump over to Detectives Valentino and Kaminsky. What are you guys doing?
That's a good question. I think unless Jim has a better idea, going to try and look into the Smithson Industries offices.
Okay.
And
cool.
See if we can get in there and if there's any information to be had.
Sure. So you're going over to Smithson.
I do have a question because I did not see where the name Elaine Basin came up. Maybe I was distracted. I know it must have come up at some point.
It was introduced at the beginning, and the first reference to it came up when Blackstone and McThumb were interrogating Daniel Thomas, the Angela's fiance.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Referring to a city councilwoman that's on the signs. I presume in some publicity capacity.
Election campaign signs.
I see.
Okay. All right. I got
I
you.
see.
Councilwoman. Okay. Yes. Things are starting to come together. I begin to.
I love when a mystery comes together.
Yes. All right. So yeah, and so I don't know if we've been apprised. Have we been apprised? Has the car chase happened already? Have we been apprised of this, or
the car chase is going to happen momentarily.
Okay. All right. So we don't yet know of a So we're looking into Smithson. We don't yet know that there's a connection with Basin. Okay.
Right.
All right. So yeah, definitely Smithson.
So there you are at Smithson, and the offices of Smithson Enterprises. It's a very stylish, gleaming glass fronted building with there's lots of money here because there's a reception desk with a very like model pretty receptionist sitting there she's on the phone when you come in. And she looks up as you. Can I help you?
Yes, we are with the city police detectives, Kaminsky and Valentino. We are hoping to speak to your employer, Mr. Smithson.
Oh, I'm afraid Mr. Smithson is not available. He's not in the country.
A shame. How? Is it obvious that that's not true, or are you going to make me roll for it?
I'm going to make you read someone.
Alrighty. Roll with heart. That's a 9.
Okay.
So this one. I guess my question is.
The obvious question is, is she telling the truth?
The obvious question is how honest.
She's not telling the truth at all.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
We everybody, the audience and everybody else knows that she is not telling you the truth. That she is here. She is the gatekeeper to keep you away from Mr. Smith.
So while that's so actually, while Kaminsky is talking to her, I'm going to just sort of ask, well, that's a shame. Hey, you got a public restroom here by any chance?
Well, we don't make it a practice for just anyone to use. I suppose so. It's over there. It's down the hall to the left.
Thank you, miss. And I'm going to go start heading down the hall, and then I'm going to sneak off and attempt to find Mr. Smithson.
Okay, let's face the danger.
And I feel like by the time he realizes that actually Kaminsky's probably just going to distract the receptionist.
Okay, let's face the let's face the danger.
Excellent. Let me see. Act in the face of danger or overcome an obstacle. Roll plus. Oh, cool. That's. Oh well. We'll see what I roll. That came right out onto the table, and I rolled a 7.
Cool. Well, a 7 is what you needed. I think that you are able to sneak away from the receptionist and get deeper into the office. However, you are going to run into I think you're going to run into a man of, like 40-ish or so, suit and tie, very professional looking, and he's going to say, "Who are you?"
And when he does that, I'm just sort of look up, and I shrug. I take my badge out. Detective Valentino. Looking for Mr. Smithson? I understand he's having some.
Mr. Smithson is not available. Yeah. What is it you want, Detective?
Well, he needs to be available because
he has the whole air of his entire bearing. It just screams lawyer at you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ah! Those are the ones we cannot touch.
Just the evil that cannot be abided.
All right, so if I get the lawyer vibe from him, then I will just I'm gonna have to play this straight. So I'm gonna say we have some questions for him regarding an ongoing case. It's actually quite serious and could look quite bad for him if he isn't able to at least talk to us about it. We'd very much appreciate it if he could.
I think at that point, because I think that happens like kind of in the atrium where the receptionist desk is located, kind of like up the stairs a bit. Mm-hmm. At which point the receptionist is going to hear this and go scampering in that direction. She's very apologetic. Mr. Jorgensen, I'm so sorry. I am so very sorry. And he says, the lawyer's bearing is very cold and definitely promising dire consequences. He says, "We will discuss this later, Charlotte." And she looks like stricken and panicked as she subsides and goes back to her desk. And he says, "Well, very well, detective. Bring your partner and come with me." And he will take you to a conference room.
I just sort of whistle, Kaminsky.
Yeah.
I just sort of gesture.
Okay.
Yeah, it follows and yeah.
Okay. He says, "Please have a seat. How can I be of assistance, gentlemen?"
We have gotten word that a municipal office personal assistant named Angela Myers has had some involvement with Mr. Smithson for local business. We we would like to speak to him in order to see how that's went.
Mr. Smithson would be unavailable for comment.
Well, here's the thing. And we're still talking to the lawyer, right? We're still talking to Jorgensen? Okay.
Jorgensen.
I'm gonna level with you, Mr. Jorgensen. Somebody just dropped a body. And I realize that there are a lot of things that, little circles we can travel in right now. But the thing is that if Mr. Smithson is not responsible for that, then the sooner he can come forward and provide us with the information we need, then the better this whole thing is going to be for him, to be perfectly frank.
Okay. Are you trying to pressure him into doing something, or are you trying to manipulate him into doing something?
That is an excellent question. I feel as though my character is definitely trying to pressure him. That's all Valentino does.
Cool. Roll plus badass.
Leans on people until they tell him what he wants to hear.
I dig it. I like it.
These are the evil dice. I don't know if it'll be good to roll them.
Evil.
Yeah. We're going to pick up the other ones. I almost rolled the evil dice. These are no less evil. I got a 6.
Okay.
So close.
Detective Kaminsky, what are you doing during this?
I am basically saying, I'll say, if there is any way in that Mr. Smithson or a representative of the company is traced back to this, and that information is obstructed, it will look very bad. And I will try to aid if I can.
Sure. Roll plus cool, please.
Cool. I think my cool... +1. Glad I... that's an 8.
Cool.
So was that cover?
So pick one from below.
I see. Maybe someone else is aware.
Yeah, that's totally cool. That totally fits the fiction beautifully, actually.
Yeah.
Jorgensen is considering this for a moment when the door to the conference room opens and a tall, athletic-looking man in his probably 60s. He's the kind who looks like he spends his leisure time sailing boats and things like that. Walks in immaculate suit that probably costs more than your salary for a year, and perfect, crisp white shirt, perfect tie, and the whole tanned thing. He opens the door, he walks in, and he closes the door behind him. He says, "It's all right, Sebastian. We will help. We will give them the help that they need." And this is, of course, Mr. Smithson. The audience all knows that. Who, Mr. Smithson? Because he's probably our big name guest star.
Yeah.
Sebastian, would you ask Charlotte to provide coffee for our guests? And It is a very dismissive gesture where he's sending his lawyer away to go do something. It's a terrible thing. Angela's a lovely girl, very intelligent. She, I'm afraid, got in over her head. I would like to say at the outset that we had nothing to do with what happened to her, and that it is truly unfortunate. I was very fond of her. She was a wonderful girl. Ambition is a dangerous drug where it makes people do dangerous things, such as get into bed with unsavory characters and get into difficult situations from which one finds themselves difficult to extricate themselves. The person that you need to be speaking with, however, is Elaine Basin.
Elaine? How the hell is she involved with all this?
She is integral to all of this. She has her sights on an office much more lavish than the one she currently occupies. And will do anything to gain the backing that she needs from any quarter to ensure that she gets to occupy that office.
I see.
Yeah, this is starting to come together.
I see.
So
Real shame.
Angela found out something in one of those. So I take it Angela found out something in one of the related to one of your recent meetings that Miss Basin was not thrilled with her knowing. Am I close to the target?
Oh, most definitely. You're spot on, as they say, detective. She had documents linking Elaine Basin to certain criminal organizations in the city that were backing her both financially and with enforcement.
Right.
And if you can find those files, you will have all of the evidence that you need.
Don't suppose you have any idea where to look for either those files or for Miss Basin? Any idea where either of those things are?
I would presume that Ms. Basin is in her office. As for the files, I would not know.
Would it be any of particular use or interest to ask you how you happen to come by this information?
Of course, I paid Angela for it. Angela was working for me.
Of course.
I see.
Angela was quite a good journalist and an even better investigator. She realized that it would be more profitable to deliver her stories to me rather than to the newspaper. I pay better.
Yeah, but she's the one who ended up paying in the end. just a word of advice. You want to be careful when you start playing chess with people's lives. I just sort of look over at Kaminsky, and I just sort of nod, and I'm like, "Thank you, sir." And Valentino's done with this conversation. Kaminsky can be talking to him if he wants, but
Yeah.
I'm going to turn around and...
Kaminsky has all he needs.
I think the scene's done. So
Yeah, agreed.
unless somebody else has something else, and we will jump back over to Blackstone and McFawn, who are downtown with Daniel Thomas. And I think that the scene opens on the very quintessential kind of dimly lit, shabby gray interrogation room with the 30-year-old table and the chair where Daniel Thomas has been plunked as you guys walk in. So what are you gonna do?
Mr. Thomas, we need to know where the files are that were missing from the cabinet. Should be for the Smithson Corporation and on Elaine Basin herself.
He fidgets in his seat, and he's very uncomfortable.
Mr. Thomas, this is not going to get any easier for you, nor is it going to end if you're silent. It's just going to be longer until you're able to eat, and longer till you're able to sleep, and longer till you're able to do anything other than sit in that chair and wait to answer questions promptly.
Ella will lean forward as he sees Daniel continue to kind of fidget, and he goes, "Don't you want to see the person that did all this see some form of justice?"
I saw her take the files out of the filing cabinet night before last. She put them in her briefcase, and I didn't see them after that.
Do you know who she was supposed to meet with that day?
I know that the next day she was supposed to meet with Elaine Basin after work.
Gotcha.
Do we have, is her day planner thing that she had like close by at hand for us to?
I'm assuming that you collected that and brought it.
I'd like to look and see what is on her schedule for the night before.
The night before she was supposed to meet Elaine Basin?
Yes.
Yes.
She actually had nothing that night. She had work that day, nothing that night, and then then there was the next day work, and then the meeting with Elaine Basin.
What did Mr. Thomas? What did the two of you do that night? Was she home all night? You saw her put the files in there. Was it for the next work day, or did she go to an appointment the night before her death as well?
Home all evening. Locked away in that room, and then I tried to get her to come to bed, but she didn't. And then I was getting up later, and I saw her putting the files in her briefcase.
Huh. So, when you were dragging the corpse of your fiance to the vacant lot, did you?
I didn't do that.
Oh, well, your boots say differently, as does your running from us. You're either guilty of the murder, as I don't currently believe, or you're guilty of an accessory, as I do currently believe. You have the better end of the bargain at this point in time. I don't think you want to dissuade us of that fact.
Yeah.
I didn't kill her, and I didn't take her there. I found her there.
If you found her there, I'm just... Why would your boot sink so far into the mud?
It had been raining. The ground was soft.
Soft doesn't justify I'm carrying 200 pounds in flowers or a possibly dead body soft. I don't see you as the kind of person that likes to move flower for fun.
When I got there, I went to the club because I knew that's where she was going to meet Elaine Basin. When I got there, I saw a car leaving, and I pulled up. I pulled up and I got out, and I saw her and I ran over to her and I could see that she was dead. And I ran back to my car to try to catch up to the green car that had left, and I couldn't find them.
Did you have a make on that as well, or just a green car?
It was a green Dodge sedan.
Gotcha. All right.
Looked like a government car, like one of those city cars you see all over town.
Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. There's still that hole that I'm trying to figure out where it gets filled by, of why your boots sink so far.
I told you I was running.
Not to mention the fact that you didn't call the police when you found your fiance's body.
I went after the other car.
Right, but then you went home, and then you went home and went to bed and waited all day for us to show up.
I didn't go to bed. I was trying to find information so I could find her killer.
And you didn't think that the police might be able to aid you in this quest?
The police can't help against that woman.
They
Mr. Thomas,
can.
If the police can't help, what is one man to do besides end up dead in a vacant lot like his fiancée did?
I can make sure that she's dead.
Well, that you could do indeed. You could also make sure that she's caught. And to do so in any way...
Even if you arrest her, she's just gonna walk away.
Mr. Thomas, if we had the bloody files, this would not be an issue. We could tie her to everything. Look, I don't... what was your studies again at the university?
I'm a graduate student in classics. Ancient civilizations.
And ancient civilizations didn't have a police force, as I am actually a member on loan from the world's oldest police force, the Metropolitan Police. Perhaps you've heard of it, our building, Scotland Yard. Yes, I have more than a master's.
I know that she met with Elaine Basin out at Basin's Lake House.
All right. When was that?
It's a couple of weeks ago.
Gotcha. Is that where you think Basin probably has been, maybe will be?
Well, that's where I was going to go look when you guys showed up.
And then proceeded to run from us because...
I was going to her lake house.
You ran from us.
To go to her lake house.
You still ran from us. There's like, yeah, I get you were going somewhere. That's not the important part. I get it. You're trying to go somewhere. You didn't think to maybe tell us that, hey, I was going to go to this lake house to do all this stuff. Instead, you're just, I'll vigilante it, and that'll definitely work out.
It's a TV show. It's TV show logic.
I know. Out of all the times that I've seen this, it's never worked out. Because you are just one person. One person can only do so much.
Well, you're not going to be able to do anything. And
I think we probably can.
okay, is there anything else you guys want out of this particular scene?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think we have the scene where both sets of detectives arrive at the lake house together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as you pull up to the lake house, there's a green government sedan sitting outside, and there's the smell of wood smoke in the air as you get out of your cars. And
She's burning the documents, I bet.
you can see smoke coming from behind the house.
Time to circle around, gun drawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will not immediately draw my gun, but I will be.
Neither will I, but yes.
Okay. I think you go running around the house and you find Elaine Basin literally just picking up this box of files and getting ready to dump it into the fire.
I'd stop what you're doing
right this second.
I'd stop what you're doing, Miss Bacon.
Elaine,
The files, please.
shouldn't do this.
You on a first name basis with her?
Yeah, she's my contact. Like we have a professional relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think she's trying to get the files dumped into the fire.
I'm going. Sure, I'd like to run and I guess tackle her, or move her away from the fire more so with an eye to saving as many documents as I can.
Sure. I think you're going to face the danger to do that.
Can
I think so.
Yeah, you can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
11.
Okay.
A 10.
Sweet. Okay, so we have that moment when Detective Blackstone bolts across the space and tackles Elaine Basin to and grabs the box of files, which go scattering off in different directions. Probably a couple of them drop in the fire, but most of them fall away from the fire. And I think there's a kind of a struggle that goes on there. But she's a politician. She's not, an athletic kind of
Sure.
Right.
super. She's not like a super spy or anything like that. She's just. So you're able to get her handcuffed pretty fairly handily. And so I want to know what Detective Kaminsky is going to do right now.
I'm not entirely sure. I think once Veronica, the other two have her handcuffed, it's like, I must say, I never really suspected. You didn't need to do this. You could have. There are much better ways to get campaign funding.
It's not about funding. It's not about funding, Philip. It's about control. Everything is about control. You never understood that. And I think that right there we're going to cut, and we're going to go to the epilogue, which is, and I think we'll do the story epilogue first, and then we'll do your epilogue. And the story epilogue we see Elaine cutting a deal with the district attorney's office to provide information about organized crime and the person who actually did the murder. But she's going to end up in prison. The guy who actually did it is going to end up in prison. But what I want to know is what happens with our detectives? How does this play out for each of you guys? So I want to start with Elar McDonald. What happens with our veteran?
Man, I don't know. He's probably gonna. I feel like I want there kind of be like a scene where both him and Blackstone go over what went right and what went wrong, and where they like in different how the difference between the two would would it have gone any better?
Okay.
Just do it like a theory type thing. I think that'd be fun. But
okay. Cool.
And but for himself, I don't know.
Okay.
Probably just will maybe see Sabino.
Not all epilogues are like super profound moments.
No.
Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're just this is what goes on forward with him. So that's cool. I dig it. And Detective Blackstone, what happens with Veronica Blackstone?
She starts warming up to being in the colonies, as she calls it, all the time, and starts caring more about like the police work and she's starting to view the rest of the detectives that she works with more as like just any other colleague, not
cool.
Yeah.
I think there's I kind of see a scene with Veronica, and she's standing on the street, and there's a street vendor, and she's getting a hot dog, and she's looking at this hot dog, and she's like, and then she takes a bite. Yeah. I kind of see that scene. Okay.
I think it probably says something like rancid American filth, and then like she clearly goes there like every day for lunch and loves
Detective Valentino. What happens with Detective Valentino?
I think there's a scene where he takes Kaminsky with him to the site of Detective Ben Sigurdsson's grave. And sort of explains that this is the kind of thing that can happen to you if all you're focused on is climbing the ladder and you don't see what's coming up from behind you. Sure, friends in high places can do things for you, but there's always a price.
Cool. I like it. And that brings us to Detective Kaminsky. Yeah. How does this play out for Detective Kaminsky?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of his epilogue is in the same scene where he kind of it's not told explicitly, but you can tell that he views Detective Valentino and his methods with a lot more respect than he had before taking the case. And we see a brief shot of him writing a check to fund whoever Elaine was running against.
Sweet. I like it. I dig it. So, and then we roll final credits, and ladies and gentlemen, that is Bad Streets.
Yay!
Woo!
Yay!
I hope you guys had fun.
It was a blast.
Yes,
Awesome,
it was
yeah.
awesome.
Excellent.
It's
I had a
fun.
wonderful time. You guys are totally awesome. Thank you so much.
That was
Yes,
great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for this. This was wonderful. If we're done here, I'll go ahead and get us toward our outros here. We're gonna go around and say what one more time. Say what folks thought of the game and where people can find you online. And if you got anything you want to plug, feel free to plug away. And I think I'm gonna start again with my fellow detectives, but in the reverse order from before. So I'm gonna start with Finn.
Hello, I'm Fettuccini. You can find me on Twitter at Fettuccini. It's probably the best place to find me. I'm all over the internet doing all sorts of things. It's easy just to keep up with me there. I played the veteran, LR McThumb. Sorry. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of blast with it. I like the 70s TV show spin to it all. That's like one of my favorite part of it is the way it's set. Is it makes for engaging gameplay without getting too bogged down by details.
Very cool, very cool. And now let's move on to Natalie.
I'm Natalie. You can find me at dark_aardvark on Twitter. I do a lot of different stuff. Maker, crafter, from embroidery to 3D printing. You can also catch me Monday nights on the Straticus Academy playing in the Conan system. Which is a lot of fun, like this game was. It is like gonna echo a lot of what Fen said. It's a really easy system to sort of like wrap your head around, but that doesn't mean it's limited at all, which is cool. It's really flexible on what you want to do and how you want to do it, and it's just a really cool little system.
Awesome, very cool. And also, by the way, as we go, feel free to put any links you want and stuff like that in the chat if you want to direct any folks to anywhere. And Levi, what'd you think? And where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm Levi Phipps, Levi Phipps 97 on Twitter. That's the best way to find out what I'm doing. Not doing too much in the online space currently, though eventually my mass campaign on twitch.tv/kphase will come back, and you'll know because I will refuse to shut up about it. But as for today, this was a whole bunch of fun. I love both cop shows and especially PBTA games right now. PBTA games in specific. And one part of it that I really like is playing to find out. And there was a lot of that for me personally, because the way I envision Detective Kaminsky in my head and the way that kind of getting played is there's a fair bit of difference, and that's very fun, interesting to see.
Sweet.
Cool. And let us finally go to, for any other final thoughts and where folks can find you, let us go to our commissioner, Jib.
Well, thank you so much for having me in to run this game. It was a ton of fun for me. Bad Streets has been a labor of love for me that was really just about me learning how to create a hack of Apocalypse World. And I'm just really excited and happy that people enjoy playing it and have a good time with it. And it brings up the aesthetic of the 70s crime show. There will be an Ashcan version of this game that will become available in short order, not too terribly long from now. So you can look for that, and there will be information about that available as soon as it's ready. In addition, I am helping out with a couple of coming Kickstarters. One of them, I'll give Jim the information. You can put them in the show notes. There is a Wild West Gazetteer anthology that I'm possibly going to be contributing to, and a couple of other projects that I have going on. You can find me online. Just search your favorite social media for Jazz is Blues, and you will probably find me there. And again, thank you guys so much for playing. You guys were awesome, and I had a spectacular time. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for running this. I've been wanting to play this ever since you mentioned it on an episode of Happy Jack's RPG podcast. And I'd been hearing about it, and I was like, that's such a cool idea for a PBTA game. So I'm glad I finally got the opportunity. This was really cool. I think my favorite part this evening was the conversation with Smithson when we were finally getting to put all the pieces together. That felt very cop show to me. And I really enjoyed that. So that was really cool. So thank you so much for coming and running that. I really appreciate you doing that. Thank you, folks, for playing. Once again, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and the most recent short story I've released. This coming Tuesday, I'm returning to Off the Table, where we will be playing in Season 2 of their Urban Shadows campaign. I am very excited to get back into it because my character is going to be both the same and not the same, due to a situation with the Fae. So that will be awesome to explore. And that'll be at twitch.tv/off_the-table. Then this coming Thursday, back on this channel, we'll have the finale of our Dirty Secrets game, Emerald Tempest. It's been a lot of fun weaving a detective story with the other players, but now things are coming to a head, and we're going to find out who's responsible for the crimes we generated during the last 3 sessions. And so that's going to be a crazy amount of fun. On Friday afternoons, Saturday mornings, and Sunday mornings, I play video games. This coming Saturday, we'll be coming back to our campaign in the Cold Ruins of Last Life, which is a setting for Dungeon World, where we're all playing undead, so that'll also be happening later on Saturday. I believe we're about to storm Castle Oblivion, so things are going to be seriously heating up in that game. Then on Sunday evening, 1 week from today, we'll be starting our round of March one-shots. We'll be playing A Penny for My Thoughts, which is a story game where the players are all amnesiacs trying to recover their memories, and they'll help fill in each other's stories as they go. I am still looking for players for that, and for the other games we'll be playing in March, 2 one-shots of Life on Mars and a short Dungeon World campaign. So if you'd like to sign up, go to the RPG sign-up link down below on my Twitch page, or go to the game sign-up link on jimyesthatjim.com. Check out the game info I've posted there and fill out the sign-up form. Beginners and veterans alike are more than welcome. Well, folks, that's going to be about it. I want to thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell!
Bye, guys.
Bye.